गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबडी, वेलकम टू क्यूरियस माइंड्स। हमारा टॉपिक आज का है पैटर्न्स ऑफ सोशल इनइक्वालिटी एंड एक्सक्लूजन, एंड दिस इज लास्ट पार्ट ऑफ दिस चैप्टर. This chapter is in the sociology book of class 12th. Okay, and before we start, let me make 2 points very clear. Very first, if you have any recommendations, you please write it in the comment section. Do support the channel so that we can bring you good content in regular intervals. And second is, if I've used any short forms, please don't use them as marks can be deducted in the exams. So let's start. The topic for today is struggles of the differently abled. The differently abled are not disabled just because they are physically or mentally impaired, but because the society is built in a manner that does not want to cater to their needs. Okay, so you need to understand that when they are saying they're differently abled, they're disabled. Yes, they're disabled physically and mentally, but they're called so, they're understood such, not because they are impaired physically or mentally, but rather the society renders them so. Society is built in a manner that does not want to cater to their needs. Okay, the rights of the differently abled have been recognized recently only. We've seen other marginalized sections also, such as Adivasis. We've seen women. We've seen Dalits also. We've seen tribes. We've seen. Okay, so all those their rights somewhere were recognized through the way along the way, but the rights of differently abled have been recognized recently only, and the public perception of disability needs to be questioned, as I've already mentioned in the first sentence only, that it is a society that is built in a manner that will recognize such differently abled as disabled. So, some features which are very central to the perception of disability are: disability is understood as biological given. Okay, first is this. Second is, whenever a disabled person is confronted with problems, it is taken for granted that the problems originate from his or her impairment. That is, it is basically his or her impairment that results in problems. So whenever a differently able will have problem, they will think that it is because of her impairment only that she is having that problem. Okay, now the disabled person is seen as a victim. Basically that person is victimized for most of his life. The very idea suggests that they are in need of help, because the society considers them so. They're disabled and they are in need of help most of the time, so that is thought of them. Okay, further we'll do, like in India what happens is disability, handicap, crippled, blind, deaf, they're used synonymously. Synonymously means they're used interchangeably, and such terms are generally used as insults, so they should not be used. Labels such as bechara accentuate the victim status. See, victimization, victimization of differently abled is done. That is how society, shapes us, so that also should not be done. Okay, for this victimization, destiny is seen as the culprit, like fate is seen as the culprit. Why? Because disability is seen as a result of past karmas. What karmas that person had did commit in the previous lives. Okay, and in mythology also, disability, disabled people basically are portrayed in an extremely negative fashion. So here negative, you have to write the entire word. In the first page you have to write because. Okay, in you have to write the entire word, you don't have to write BCZ. Now hence the terms differently abled, mentally challenged, visually impaired, physically impaired, they have replaced retarded, crippled. So you have to use better words that are used in that have some positive connotation. Okay, the disabled are not called so because they are biologically disabled, rather because society renders them so. You have to understand that it is not that they are disabled, they are differently able, they might be challenged physically or mentally, but it is a society that makes them disabled. Okay, that victimization and that they are always the cause of problems they face, their impairedness is always the cause. Okay, so that has to be shed off. Next is, now there is a very close relationship between poverty and disability. How will we understand it? Now, malnutrition, mothers weakened by frequent births, inadequate immunization programs, you have to write the entire word, accidents in overcrowded homes contribute to incidents of disability, and disability creates and worsens poverty because of high isolation and economic strain. So high, and because you have to write the entire word. So if I need to say this relationship, I would say that poverty and disability are complementary and supplementary to each other. that is poverty stricken people. That is, those people might be malnourished, or they might be, they might have had inadequate immunization programs, or they might be living in overcrowded homes, and incidents might take place that could result in disability. So such poverty also results in disability, and disability in turn also creates or worsens poverty because of high isolation. Because if you're disabled, then you're usually isolated, and there is this economic strain which results in poverty. So they're complementary and supplementary to each other. So conclude, we can say that it is only recently that some awareness is building in the society on the need to rethink it. Okay, and recognition of disability is absent from the wider educational discourse. Educational system continues to marginalize disability by maintaining two separate streams. See, here you need to understand that how is wider educational discourse, not recognizing disability. Why? Because the very reason that educational system is maintaining two separate streams, that is one for disabled students and one for everyone else, continues to marginalize disability. Okay, so this is an example, but there is a long way to go. Okay, and this is it for today's video. The next chapter is challenges for cultural diversity, and the next chapter will be started within a week, maybe less than a week. So please, until then, do support the channel, and please share to your classmates also, so that they can also understand better, and we bring you good content every day. So thank you. Stay safe, stay home, and do study hard. Thank you.